Hello everyone, my name is Leo and with this video we will compare the NUX MG 400 versus the Valeton GP 200 LT versus the Flamma FX 150 versus the Matribox 2. First of all, we will hear the units in action in a demo song, then we will compare the main technical characteristics of the units with a very detailed comparison chart. Then we will hear more sounds, also comparing the units versus real tubes amps. And finally, I will give you my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoy and please subscribe and ring the bell as it would really help me to make more videos like this. And this video really required a lot of time and effort. Let's start. We will now compare the 5 units checking out the following parameters: number of amps, cabs and mics built-in, third-party IRs availability, number of effects and effect chain management more in general, MIDI support, inputs and outputs available in all the units, foot switches and expression pedal, screen size and type, looper and drum machine, ADA conversion, USB channel, latency and computer app availability, current, power, dimension, weight and price. First of all, the Flamma FX 150 has 58 amps and 30 cabs. There are no bass or acoustic guitar simulations and there is not the possibility to choose a mic or its position across the cabinet. The Valeton has 71 amps, 70 cabs with 5 bass amps and 2 acoustic guitar ones. Also for the Valeton we cannot choose a specific mic. The MG400 offers 26 amps and 33 cabs, with 1 amp and 8 cabs dedicated to the bass guitar. You have 4 mics simulations at your disposal and you can place the mic across the cabinet in 3 different positions. On the other hand, the Zoom G2 has 22 amps and cabs in one single block, with no possibility to choose the cabinet and no mic simulation. In fact, the amp block of the G2 is kind of a monolith, without the possibility to manipulate the cab or the mic. Finally, the Matribox 2 has 63 amps and 61 cabs with 5 amps and 8 cabs dedicated to the bass guitar. We don't have the possibility to choose the mic or its position across the cabinet. Here I would highlight the Zoom approach, where you cannot select the cab independently from the amp. in theory to guarantee a more precise model of the interaction between amps and cabinets. I would also highlight the MG400, which is the only unit to offer the mic simulations. Other than that, and as always, I would suggest to check out the user manual to verify the amps available in the units in order to be sure that the specific amp simulation you may want is actually available. All the units offer the possibility to load third-party IRs, but the Zoom G2, I guess for the aforementioned reason, I mean the monolith approach. The sample points offered are all 1024, but for the MG400 that offers 512 sample points for the IRs. In terms of effects and effect chain management more in general, other than the number of effects available that you can check out in the slide projected, the Flamma offers 10 effect blocks, the Valeton 11, the MG410, the Zoom 7 and the Matribox 11. With all the units you can place the effects in whatever order you want, but only with the Zoom you can replicate the same effect many times, where typically with the other units you have one or more blocks associated to many different effects, so that you can, for instance, place two distortions in the chain using generic blocks. The units that offer an effect loop for external effects are the Flamma FX 150, the Valeton and the Matribox. Obviously, the effect loop allows us also to use the units with the 4-cable method with our amp. So please keep it in mind if this is something important for you. No unit offers the possibility to load parallel effects, which is something to be expected in this price range. As regards MIDI, no unit offers physical MIDI ports with the exception of the Matribox, which offers both MIDI in and out via mini jacks, which is cool in my opinion. As with MIDI, you can overcome the small number of foot switches that typically these units offer. Some of these units offer the possibility to use MIDI over USB, but I don't have further investigated this topic, so if you have more details, please drop a message in the comment section below. In terms of I/O, all the units have a guitar input, obviously, unbalanced stereo out, an headphone out and an aux in. Here I would highlight that both the Valeton and the Matribox offer also balanced out. The Valeton via dedicated XLR sockets, the Matribox using TRS jacks. As you know, balanced outputs are useful to avoid noise when running very long cables. For instance, on stage, in order to connect your pedalboard to a mixing desk. All the units have an expression pedal and 3 foot switches, with the exception of the MG400 and the G2, which both offer 4 foot switches. In terms of screen, I would highlight the touch screen of the Flamma, which is the only unit to offer such a feature. And then I would highlight the black and white screen of the Zoom, which in 2023 is, well, pretty odd, I would say. All the units have a drum machine built in. The FX150 and the MG400 offer both a 60 seconds looper, which becomes 30 in stereo, where the GP200, the G2 and the Matribox offer respectively 180 seconds, 80 seconds and 90 seconds, but it is not clear if these are the looper times for a stereo effect configuration or not. If you know, please drop a message in the comment section below. Let's now talk about ADA conversion, USB port, latency and the computer app. First of all the units can be used as an audio interface with 2 input and 2 output channels, with the exception of the Matribox, which offers a 6x4 channels audio interface, which is cool. Furthermore, the other units with a standout feature, in my opinion, is the NUX MG 400, which offers 32-bit internal processing and can serve as an audio interface at 48 kHz and not only 44.1 like the other units. And this is useful in my opinion, as I typically record at 48 kHz. Now, I don't want to enter here the debate about 44 versus 48, but as I received a lot of questions about this topic and many of you are convinced that we just need 44.1 kHz, I would give you my perspective. I record at 48 basically for three reasons. 1. The higher is the frequency, the lower is the aliasing. 2. For video production, typically you need 48 kHz. 3. For my recording, I may need to do some ADA conversion strips in order to use analog gear, like analog compressor, etc. And therefore 48 kHz just give me more peace of mind, how to say. If you don't agree, it's totally fine. And if you don't need 48 kHz, that's great for you, obviously. The unit which offers the lower value of latency is the MG400 with 1.1 milliseconds, which is extremely low. The MG400 is followed by the Zoom with 1.6 milliseconds, then we have the Valeton with 3.3 milliseconds, then the Flamma with 4.3, and then the Matribox with 5. If you want more info about latency, you can check out the video in the card above, where I have compared the latency of 23 amp modelling pedalboards. All the units offer a computer app but the Zoom G2, which has an app for a phone or tablet. All the units run at 9 volts and the one which requires less power is the MG400 with less than 280 milliamperes, followed by the G2 with 500 milliamperes. The other units all require 1000 milliamperes. Here I would also like to mention that the Zoom is the only unit that can run powered via USB, and that for the Flamma we have the version 150B, which can run battery powered. That is pretty cool in my opinion. In terms of dimensions and weight, the lighter is the MG400, and in terms of dimension they are really pretty similar, with small differences each from the other. Here I would highlight that the FX150, the Valeton and the Matribox have a metal chassis, and that's the reason why they are heavier compared to the MG400 and the G2. That approach should guarantee that the units are more robust, but we need the proof of time to be sure. And finally, in terms of price, the Zoom has become the cheaper, followed by the MG400, then the Matribox and then the Flamma and the Valeton. Here I would point out that the G2 has had a pretty high drop in price, as it was launched at 257 euros. So summarizing, the main differences I would highlight are the possibility to change the mic simulation, which is available only in the MG400, and the impossibility to load IRs, which affect only the Zoom, which also feature a monolithic amp plus cab block. Then the only units with an external effect loop are the Flamma, the Valeton and the Matribox, and the Matribox and the Valeton are the only units to have balanced stereo out. The only unit with a touch screen is the Flamma, where on the other hand the screen of the G2 is pretty bad, being only black and white. The only unit which offers an audio interface at 48 kHz is the NUX MG400, where the Matribox stands out for its 6x4 audio interface. In fact, all the other units offer a 2x2 audio interface. Lastly, I would mention that the Zoom can be USB bus powered and that the Flamma offers a battery powered version called FX150B. These are the most significant differences in my opinion, but please let me know your points of view in the comment section below. Please let me also know if there are errors in the comparison chart and if there are other differences that are important for you and that I didn't mention, so that together we can help other guitarists to make the right choice according to their needs. Let's now compare the sounds. Welcome to the more sound section of this video. Let me give you some tips to better enjoy this section. First of all, we will compare the modelers versus a Fender Deluxe Reverb, a Marshall JCM 800 and a Marshall JCM 800 pushed by a tube screamer. Second, I have used for the amps and the modelers the same IRs. A Jensen IR for the Deluxe Reverb and the relevant simulation, a Greenback IR for the comping distorted part that I did using the Marshall JCM 800, and a Vintage 30 IR for the lead tone. All these IRs are included in my IR pack that you can check out following the link in the card above or description below. Third, I have not included the Zoom as it does not allow to use IRs, and therefore the tone simulation would have been not correct in brackets. So I have left the Zoom only in the comparison chart if you want to check out the technical characteristics. Fourth, I have set all the amp modeling with the same settings as the real tube amps. I mean, I have not tweaked the modelers in order not to introduce bias. Of course, tweaking, you can get even closer to the real amp, but I think that using the same setting of the real amp, you can get a clearer picture of how far or close the modelers are to the tube amps counterparts. And please notice that we will use pre-recorded DI samples to feed the real amps and the modelers in order not to introduce errors derived from the fact that it is impossible to play the same riff more than once without little variations. I put a lot of effort into this comparison, so please subscribe, ring the bell and leave a thumb up to help me to make more videos like this. With this out of the way, let's start the tone comparison. Final considerations here, and please notice that these are gonna be my personal opinions for my specific use cases, and of course you may not agree with me, and this is totally fine. Let's first of all recap the main tech differences, and then let's talk about the tone. First of all, the MG400 offers the possibility to change the mic simulation, which in my opinion is pretty important to shape our tone. Here I would also mention that with the Zoom it is impossible to load IRs, as it features a monolithic amp and cab block. Second, the only units with an external effect loop are the Flamma, the Valeton and the Matribox. Furthermore, the Matribox and the Valeton are the only units to have balanced out. Fourth, the only unit with a touchscreen is the Flamma, where on the other hand the screen of the G2 is pretty bad, being only black and white. Fifth, the only unit which offers an audio interface at 48 kHz is the NUX MG 400, where the Matribox stands out for its 6x4 audio interface. In fact, all the other units offer a 2x2 audio interface. Lastly, I would mention that the Zoom can be USB bus powered and that the Flamma offers a battery powered version called FX150B. So, in terms of features, obviously it is up to us to decide what are the most important factors in our specific use cases. For instance, if you want an effect loop, then the second use case is yours. If you want 48 kHz, the fifth use case is the one for you, etc. Let's talk about the sound. I found that in the mix you can hear the differences, especially with clean tones, and the more you crank up the sound, the more the units become close and hard to differentiate in a full mix. On the other hand, I have noticed the small differences, especially when hearing each unit alone. These are the differences I have noticed. For the clean tone, all the units have generally more pronounced highs compared to the real Fender Deluxe reverb that has more body and a fuller frequency spectrum representation. Of course, you can tweak each unit to get closer, but a unit that has the mid and bass generally a bit more closer to the Fender is the Matribox. For the distortion tone, with the tube screamer switched on, the units are really all similar each to the other, and pretty close to the real deal. In the comping parts, on the other hand, without the tube screamer, I found the MG400 a bit closer to the real JCM 800, as the mid and lows are more similar to the real deal, compared to the other units. But of course, please check out the more sound section of this video for you to judge, and please share your findings in the comment section below. We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell and leave a thumb up, as it would really help me to make more videos like this. If you're interested in my IRs, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to my new EP, Art, Love, Freedom. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.